Cool. Hi, everyone. This is Leandra from Vidcode. This is the first time we're doing a YouTube live broadcast, so that is exciting. And it's the first time this will be recorded for people to see afterwards. So that's exciting too. We're gonna have these resources up on the YouTube page. Cool, and if I remember looking up, I have two screens here. So I'm just looking up at the screen above my webcam laptop. Awesome. Let me pull up this presentation. Let's see if this works. Okay, awesome. So I think we're going to be having these webinars kind of bi-weekly, and we're just going to go over how to use the different tools that we have available in your classroom. And this week, we're just covering Hour of Code and kind of what to do next, and also how to get ready for it. All of the tutorials just went live on the code.org site, which is pretty exciting for this year. So they're there to try out beforehand. So here's just some links to access. And I can send these out to everyone afterwards as well. But this first one, this is our kind of Hour of Code landing page that I'll show you guys. This has all of our 3 Hour of Codes that we currently have up, as well as all the teacher resources and all the unplugged activities, and a place to sign up for more information. There's this resources page that has more PDFs, posters, and tweets, stuff like that. And then code.org/learn has all of the Hour of Codes, not just ours. And then here on the bottom, I have my email address that anyone can email at any time to get more information or anything like that. So one thing that we did last year that was pretty exciting, and we kind of had a lot of activities to go beyond just 1 hour. So we partnered with Girl Scouts of Greater New York, and we ran over 300 in-person tech jams. And tech jams are a little bit different than just an hour of code. Tech jams are supposed to be a celebration. So the definition is a model event for a community or school to celebrate computer science. So we also have tools and resources to kind of go beyond just 1 hour and have a big one-day celebration that'll introduce people or students to computer science. And last year when we had these, we had groups of girls. We had older and younger Girl Scouts who would be working on different projects in the same kind of event area. And so the younger girls were doing more off the computer activities. The older girls were doing that year's Hour of Code activities. And that was really good because the older girls would go back and help the younger girls. We had a lot of pair programming, and it was really, I think, inspirational for the girls. It really helped. So that was last year. And here's some of the projects that were made for that last year. It was a code your own greeting card project. So students would use these Girl Scout videos and program graphics and text over them. Seen these used for a lot of things since then. We saw them used for Mother's Day cards. And we've seen them used for invitations, for events, for different classes. teachers this year use this tutorial to make kind of like greeting cards or posters about their hour of code. So that was last year's project. And this year we have a few new activities. So that's kind of what I'm having this set for, to show what those are and how to best access those, and to kind of answer any questions. And I'm not totally sure how questions work. Like I said, this is my first time using live events thing. Oh, it seems like it's going to be a disaster. Yeah, that's okay. Well, I'll figure out how to see how people are asking questions. You can also Leandra at vidcode.io, and I can check those at the end. So yeah, so this is the first time we kind of released our code activity for this year. It's called Code the News. So for this project, this year's hour of code, it goes much further than last year's hour of code did. Students might end up spending more than an hour on it, which is fine. Students might not finish it, which is also fine. We've designed it so that they code different features. So each one of these points, and you can see as like the students go through them, they'll hit them. And they'll turn green when they're done. So it'll be really easy for you walking around to see where your students are at. But each feature is a point where the project can be finished. So a student can finish a project with just a headline and a graphic, or they can go all the way to the end where they're using if-else statements to switch graphics over time. So this page, www.vidcode.io/hour-of-code, which will be up right here on the top of our nav bar as soon as we release it. This has all 3 years, or all 3 activities in 2 years of hour-of-code projects that we've created for you guys to use. This one, Climate Science and Code, are focused on students researching a climate fact and creating a video about it. So a lot of that hour is researching and recording a video. And then these 2 are more traditional hour of code projects. Students use media that we provide, or for Best Degree card, they can upload their own and code different effects. And I can show you some of those examples of this year's here. So this is an hour of code that a student created. It says, breaking news, Santa turned into a cat. And this is someone who finished the project. And so you can kind of see all the different features broken up here. So there's the logo that the student made, the inset box with the graphic inside, and the scrolling headline. And then here's one more project example with someone who actually created their own media. This is Muppet News. And so you can kind of see that two projects that hit all of the features end up looking very different. So before I go into how to make a class and track your students' progress, I'll show you guys one more thing. This is the Educator Resource page for this year's Hour of Code. And every year's has these, and you can get to them here by just clicking, instead of Start Projects, Educator Resources. This one actually has two. This is a Student Resources page to help with research. And this page has the principles that this hits, goes over the skills that your students will learn. So everything that this hits, it hits creating object using variables and modifying those variables, setting objects properties. It goes over assignment loops. You'll learn to modify the properties of your objects, and it goes over conditionals at the end as well. So the other thing you'll find on this page is sample code if you or your students get stuck and need to figure out why something's wrong. When there are bugs in the code, syntactical errors, there will be a line that appears, or the color of your line will change, and there will be an exclamation point next to it. But if you're trying to figure out what's wrong, something's not working, you can go here and see a couple sample answers, potentially help you figure it out. And so the last thing that's on this page are 2 hour-long lesson plans. This one goes from 60 to 90 minutes. This one does as well. And they're both open as PDFs. So you can download them if you want. And they just go through, this first one goes through how to introduce programming to them. So what to do around the hour of code, explain what JavaScript is, what they're learning, and the conversation to have around programming and the fact that you created this project, you are a programmer. And then the second lesson plan is a little bit more specific. This specifically goes over conditionals, which can be is probably the trickiest part of the hour of code in tests that we've done. So this has them write out stories about conditionals. This one specifically uses Cinderella, but students can kind of write their own conditional stories and sort of understand how they work before going in and editing them in code world. And then at the bottom, there's all the standards that this hits if you're interested in that. So one last thing to show you before going into how to add a classroom. Is that if you scroll down on this page, there's a couple unplugged activities. And these are good to use with younger students. So with this activity, students take turns being the programmer. So one student will be in the front of the room, and she can't look at the other students, and she's trying to explain to them a drawing that she drew. She's giving them instructions. And so this walks through how to do that. This was a very popular activity at our Tech Jam last year. And this one's a more math-focused activity. This one's better for slightly older students, grade 6 and up. So when you're ready to track your students' progress, you can log in with your teacher account. So if you press this, it'll bring you straight to your profile. And there you'll have a dashboard where you can create the class that you want to track. And you don't have to do this for our hour of code. Students can log in without a password. But if they do want to save their projects, like if I am part of the way through and I have my graphic added, coding star. So I've added my graphic and I don't want to go any further, but I want to save my project. What I would do would be to sign up, and I'll be able to find my projects in my profile as a student. So if you do want your students to sign up and you want to be able to track their progress and see how far they've gotten in the tutorial, you just have to create a new class. You can call it whatever you want. Fun 2017. Cool. And then I would send this link to my students, whatever is easiest for me to do that, either a Google Doc or their email, whatever is easiest. And then they would use this link to sign up. And once they sign up here, they'll automatically be added to my class. And from there, I'm able to go in and see all the projects that they publish. So I'm able to see their hour of code project. And I'm also able to see how far they've gone in each tutorial they've done. For this one specifically, I don't maybe looking at their hour of code tutorial. If students finish early, they're totally welcome to do a different hour of code. There's others on the code.org website. So that's code.org/learn. And then there's also, and you're able to filter these by grades. And what's interesting for your student, you're able to filter it by topics. And then on our site, students are able to go from their hour of code, if they're finished, to a different project that may be interesting to them. So another hour of code, they can do the bestie hour of code, or the bestie greeting card hour of code if they're done with the news, or they can go and do something like make their own Snapchat filter, or create special effects. And these are all much more focused projects. It might be something to do for your students to emphasize the things that they started to learn in an hour of code. Cool. So that's been about 25 minutes. I want to figure out how to see if anyone has questions. I've been to broadcasts before, but I've never run one myself. Cool. Oh man, I hope everyone saw my screen and not just my face that whole time. Okay. Cool. So if anyone does have questions, send them to my email, leandra@vidcode.io. And that's it for this. Next, we'll probably, like I said, do these every 2 weeks and just go over some features we have during that time. We're going to be rolling out new grading tools really soon. So we'll probably be running one of these about that, as well as some new tutorials and classroom management tools that we have. Thanks for attending, everyone. I'm going to send out this link for anyone who wants to go through it and kind of see what we went over and the new tools that we have at this time. Thanks for coming, everyone.